Hear ye, gather around for another edition of Young Kings Wrestling, not featuring the JDF Memorial Sovereign Soundboard. I'll explain momentarily. As always, you can find us on all streaming platforms that stream podcasts, including Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. If you're listening on iTunes, we ask that you leave us a review of the 5-star variety. Links to all the platforms and the merch are available at ykwrestling.com. Obviously, as you can see, today, TC is out. Was not able to come in today. But with that being said, welcome to Nuck If You Buckingham Palace. I am your host, Wreak Havoc. And of course, I never show up to Nuck If You Buckingham Palace alone. So I called in the easiest substitution that I could make, because, ladies and gentlemen, Young Kings Wrestling proudly presents to you the one hardest working woman in podcasting today, the Shaman of She-Elite, host of the She-Elite Showcase and a myriad of other shows, and the Sultan of Step on Me, Ms. Katie Kinsey, baby. What's up, Katie?
What's up?
Oh, not much. It's been a nice week. Really fun.
Yeah. I always forget about the Step on Me one.
Yeah. It's been a while, so I'm glad I was able to bring that back up. Anywho, we watch wrestling all week long. Anything you've been watching outside of the normal stuff?
No, actually. I was barely watching this week's shows in general. It wasn't a super good week earlier in the week. It's kind of watched Raw, more so skimmed NXT, but I was fully invested in the SmackDown, so.
Oh, yeah, I was too. And we're going to talk about that. Definitely going to talk about that. I got back to watching in 03, watched Unforgiven, and I'm just starting the Iron Man match, Brock and Angle, the third match they had. That was better than I remember so far. I'm halfway through it. But I reminded that Shane is a complete crazy son of a bitch, because at Unforgiven he had the last man standing match with Kane, and yeah, there was a lot going on. The man broke a camera, he jumped off the stage, almost killed himself.
I mean, it's not a Shane match if he doesn't almost kill himself.
I mean, yeah, but it was a lot going on. I guess, they really had to put Kane over as a little bit crazier than usual. But yeah, it was a good show. Goldberg, your man Goldberg won big gold that night.
Oh, I'm happy there's no soundboard this week. I don't need that negativity in my life right now.
Listen, we know how you feel about Goldberg. If you know, but we know how you feel about Goldberg.
That statement is taken out of context, and I hate it. Don't. No. No.
Yeah, it's okay. But anyway, this week in wrestling history, we got quite a few on the list here today. But 1999, Mankind defeats The Rock for the WWF title. It was the night Eric Bischoff was on WCW Nitro and leaked what the results were, because it was pre-taped, hoping that everyone would just say, screw it, we're just going to stay on Nitro, when in reality, everyone turned their TVs to watch Mick Foley get his big day in the sun, and it was essentially the death knell in the Monday Night Wars for WCW. 2001, ECW has their final ECW show, Guilty as Charged. 2002, Triple H made his return from the quadricep injury at MSG to the biggest pop maybe of all time.
Ever.
Went on to win the Rumble that year. It was Triple H was putting up numbers in 2002.
Oh, yeah.
2006, this is one of my favorites. Edge cashes in the first ever Money in the Bank on John Cena at New Year's Revolution after the Elimination Chamber, winning his first WWE Championship. I remember being so pissed off in the morning about that. In the moment, yeah, that was a rough morning for me in hindsight. But
Yeah.
that means he was doing a good job as a heel. Today it's one of my favorite moments to look back on.
Yeah.
2016, AJ Styles gets kicked out of the Bullet Club. That was who was that? It was Balor or Prince Devitt, whichever he was going by at the time.
So like yeah, Balor was first, and then AJ, and then everyone's favorite Kenny and the Bucks beat AJ.
Right. Okay, got
AJ was
you.
coming to WWE.
Yeah. Oh boy, what a time. And I think that was yep, that's the last one. And birthday shout outs. First off, the for all his controversy, the greatest announcer or commentator in wrestling, as far as I'm concerned. Big JR Jim Ross, Jacqueline, Hall of Famer, Chavo Classic, Chavo Guerrero's father, Bull Nakano, and Chris Masters. Happy birthday shout outs to all of you guys.
Yeah, I met Chris Masters.
Yeah, I think we all did. But he's letting people know on social media that with all these returns coming back, you never know. Rumble season is upon us. We'll touch on that. Yeah. Rumble. This is gonna be Triple H's first Rumble, and I'm expecting a lot because there's a lot of unpredictability about it, and we never know what we're gonna get this year. So I'm kind of hyped for that. Anywho, on to the royal address of rumors. And I think the obvious place to start off is Vincent Kennedy McMahon and his return in some capacity to WWE. So I guess I'll still do it. I had planned to just make a PSA because we talk about this every single week. We, the fans, can never have any kind of news drop because there's always a section of people that take that news and they go left, they go right, they go all over the place where it don't need to be. But my biggest gripe is that y'all don't like to read. Y'all don't like to read. So the Wall Street Journal was the first to leak the news that Vince was coming back. The Wall Street Journal also dropped the news about Vince's allegations and him stepping down. And if you simply read either of those two reports, or the one where he stepped down, it gave you the parameters of what was going on. And I decided to, preemptively just pull it up. Since y'all don't like to read, I'm going to do it for you. And I'm not even going to go through the whole thing. I'm just going to paraphrase a little bit. Essentially, what this means. Vince McMahon stepped down completely from his roles in creative, running the company, managing, everything like that. All of those titles that are currently being occupied by Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, Nick Khan. And while this investigation, which is still open, by the way, keep that in mind. While that investigation goes on, Vince cannot at any point in time step into, interfere, hinder any of those particular roles that are occupied by those three people that I just mentioned. So that being said, what he can do, being the majority shareholder of the company, is exercise his ownership right to appoint members to the board. So, obviously, he has exercised that right, vacated 3 seats, using a majority vote, appointed himself and 2 other people. I didn't get their names, but it doesn't matter. appointed himself and two others to the board. And I should also point out that he is not the chairman of the board anymore because their chairwoman is his daughter, Stephanie. So he's not even at the top of the board anymore. He's just on the board. Last thing, the goal of him coming back is to essentially put together a strategy to maximize the value of World Wrestling Entertainment as a company in the thought process of exploring a potential sale for WWE to be acquired by some other company, basically. Mm-hmm. And this is why I was going to be like, I had this PSA plan with TC because TC is a shareholder. So my thing was,
right.
y'all wanted everybody to be mad about Vince coming back, right? When in reality, he's coming back. His goal coming back is to maximize your dollars as shareholders, the shareholder interests and the company's value. That is what he's trying to do. So essentially, I'll dumb it down even further for some of y'all, right? Every 4 years, we have an election for a president, right? So that means that over the course of those 4 years, you have senators, governors, aldermen, all sorts of different political figures that'll say at some point in time, when that 4 years comes due, hey, maybe y'all want to take a run at the White House. So what they do is they put together what's called an exploratory committee. What the purpose of the exploratory committee is to maximize the potential of this candidate, voter engagement and marketing, all this other stuff, maximize the potential of this candidate so that they can make a run for the office of president. Vince McMahon has come back to put together an exploratory committee. Let's be thankful it is not to run for president. It's just to sell his company, which belongs to him. So that brings us to the second point, which is WWE potentially being for sale. Now, if that's the conversation that we're on and we're worried about, then, I mean, that's a different ball game. I don't know how I think or feel about it. I've had a whole day. I'm not sure how I would feel about it, to be honest. There's not a lot of names that could come in and buy out this company, but I don't have a general feeling about it right now, to be honest.
It's gonna be the mouse.
See, but
if it ends up being anybody, it's gonna be the mouse. They own everything.
Well, that's the easiest answer, but it's just like I feel like the product gets diluted if that happens. Like I feel like it starts to falter in a way. I mean, I could be wrong. Yeah. Like they've kind of stretched a little bit. They've surprised me. Like a lot of I was a fan of all like the Netflix shows for Marvel and stuff like that, and they came to Disney Plus, and I'm thinking, okay, so we're gonna get everything watered down. It's not gonna be the same. But they created a section where like, okay, you can watch stuff that's less, kid friendly. Yeah. But when it comes to a company that's on TV multiple times a week, and I mean, WWE already had kid-friendly sponsors. Disney only has that. So, I mean, I don't know. That's my thing. It's like we're gonna slowly start getting trimmed down a whole lot more. The other thing was that Vince showed up right at this point in time because of this window that's getting ready to close for their media rights deals. Those are coming due as well. So there's this time that they're using to really try and get the company souped up as much as possible, and they even talked about potentially going back to being a private company again. So there's a lot of options on the table, but at the end of the day, it's like, if you're going to put together some strategies for it, who else would you rather have than the guy that's been running this company on the business side of it for about a half a century? I mean, kind of just seems logical to me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just still mad at Vince because he retired on my birthday, and I was like, that's a nice surprise. And then he came back. The fuck? Ruined my birthday. Rude.
I, I mean, look, we said from the second it happened that the door is always going to be somewhat, if not even a little bit, cracked open that he could try and slip back through. Um, like I said, I just I'm not into the overreaction about it. Like, don't this everyone just the sky is falling, all hope is lost, all this other shit. Like, bro, read. That's all you got to do is read. It's really simple. Um, but yeah, I mean, once the story came out that he felt like people gave him bad intel and everything like that, and it was a bad decision for him to step away. It kind of spelled it out. It kind of made it real simple. So I wasn't really surprised. I think the fact that he stepped away was what made it kind of a real possibility.
Yeah, it was just a random tweet at like 6:30 at night on July 22nd. He's like, surprise, I'm retiring. See you guys later.
Yeah.
Everyone's just like, what?
Yeah.
Like, who does you control this huge ass company and you decide, well, I mean, allegations aside, you decide on a random I don't even remember what day it was, that you're just gonna retire in a tweet and just let the world burn around you.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like Vince McMahon. Very much like Vince McMahon. But yeah, we'll see where this goes. I don't just to reiterate, everyone is still in their titles, and Triple H is still running all of the content. Nick and Steph are both co-CEOs. She's the chairwoman, which if y'all just read the simple press release that came out on Friday, a few hours before SmackDown, you would see that. But we know who you guys are. You're award winners another year in a row on this show. So I ain't gonna get too much more into that. Better news, and I'm sure you guys talked about this already on the other shows, but we said goodbye to Sasha Banks and hello to Mercedes Moné this week at New Japan over at Wrestle Kingdom. She shows up and had a segment with Kairi Sane and basically set up a match between the two of them next month. And she let everybody know that this is, she's just starting here in New Japan's women's division, but she planned on going a whole lot of places. So that brings up speculation about AEW, a bunch of other places that she could potentially pop up. But I gotta say, I was I was very, very thankful for what I seen. I was having a good morning when I seen that. God is in the blessing business. I appreciate him very much. That's a queen, and we told y'all that when she goes off on a world tour, she gonna show y'all, and she made a hell of a statement over this week. I'm feeling it.
Can I explain my gripe to you about Mercedes possibly going to AEW?
I'm all ears. Talk to me.
So, shows up in Wrestle Kingdom, clearly a heel, calls Kairi a bitch in the promo, drops Kairi, Battle in the Valley next month.
Mm-hmm.
Easy, whatever. Does her promo thing after the fact, says she's going on a world tour. Everyone and their mother thinks she's coming to AEW, and if she does, I don't think that would be smart. Because, well, now that Saraya has a partner in Toni Storm, and a lot of people think that's just a scapegoat for Mercedes to somehow come in, and Sheeta was pissed in the promo, which, good for her, that could lead to something.
Yeah.
But Saraya's the face in this.
Uh-huh.
How you gonna have Mercedes, clearly a heel, And we know Sasha is not the best at babyface stuff. She's good. She's not the best. She's clearly better suited as a heel. How are
Mm-hmm.
you gonna have her do heel shit and then a week later have her come in as your hottest babyface, teaming with Saraya, of all people, the person, and that history alone is, y'all can do your research.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, and then it just pisses me off. I said it on Friday. It's homie hopping the promotions, changing your character. Like, if you are a clear set heel in Stardom and New Japan's women's division, and then you're gonna come to AEW and be this top notch baby face, what what does that do for you? That doesn't do anything. That makes people just confused as to if you show up anywhere else in any indie promotion or Impact or possibly at the Rumble. Who knows? That still could be a thing. Like, that doesn't work. You're putting a lot on yourself for no reason. Just stick with what you know, i.e., being a heel because you're good at it and you make money at it and you're doing a hell of a job already. So I don't want her. I love her. I don't want her in AEW. And that overshadows Jamie Hayter as champion again.
Well, I mean, I'll do you one better. Sasha Banks was frustrated in a company that promotes women and does a good job of promoting women within the last 6, 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
How is she supposed to fare in a company that is not doing a good job of promoting their women consistently? Every big name female star that's come through those doors has either been, had a hot debut just to get shoved to the side, they're injured, or middling somewhere on one segment on Dynamite, going to Dark, stuff like that. I mean, you could go down the list. You just mentioned Hikaru Shida.
Yep.
She was probably the biggest, next to like Nyla Rose and Riho, was like the biggest star they had signed.
Mm-hmm.
Britt Baker she had her moment, to be the women's champion. She was one of the biggest stars they had. She's cooled off. Ruby Riot, or what is it now? Ruby Soho. That she got the massive pop when she showed up. Where is she now? Thunder Rosa, I've gone on several tirades about that situation. We already know how bad that is. You just mentioned Jamie Hayter, right? This was finally one of those, stars that, like, mid-card stars that kind of took that jump up. But jury's still out on that situation. So that's just 5 names alone, right? Then you look at the one who really, the only one who is really getting the proper promotion, and really it's more so because of, her appeal and the fact that she has a lot of mainstream value, is Jade Cargill. But she's only been in the business, what, this is 2 years now, 2.5 years. So it's like,
Yeah.
she, in terms of, and that's not to discount anything. She's part of the business. She's working, she's doing what she's got to do. But it's like, when you think about the fact that you've had star after star after star, and it's not just women, but just for the sake of this topic, it's
Yeah.
like you had them all come through, and it's like, okay, yeah, everyone gets excited because they go to AEW and they're going to get this, that, and the third, and they don't get any of it. When you think about that, why would Mercedes then show up to AEW? Because a lot of people say, oh, well, yeah, it doesn't matter. This person's too big of a star. They're not. It's not going to happen to them. They're going to go, and it's going to happen. How many times? How many times have we said that about somebody? We said that about Andrade. Where's he at? Now he's hurt. Granted, he had surgery, stuff like that. But before he was even hurt, where was he at? We said that about Keith Lee. Okay, yeah, he was in a tag team with Swerve, stuff like that. They had run the titles, but that's not what we wanted Keith Lee there doing. I think I was about to say that about Samoa Joe, but I guess they're doing something the last couple weeks. But it's like, we've said that about so many different talents. It's like, we know what Mercedes brings. And in hindsight, we should be saying, yeah, she goes to AEW, it's a game changer. But for how long? So that That reason alone is why I would say go to AEW. If you want to keep doing the thing in New Japan, a couple other promotions, kind of do what a lot of talent like Cody did it before he helped build AEW. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Perfect example, someone I've been talking about on this show a lot, Matt Cardona. You know what I'm saying? Building his value up, and not like she needs to even do that, but by all means, you keep doing that, no one's going to be mad. But no, AEW to me is not the answer at all for her.
No. So I'm just waiting for Twitter to explode and either people complaining that she doesn't show up on Wednesday or that she does show up and then overpowers everybody in the match and then just becomes the only person they focus on for about 2 months and then drop her off.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. That's okay. But yeah, that the new look is fire. I'm definitely feeling that. And
The fire hair.
yeah, all of that. And you may as well just Kyrie. You may as well count your days because it's a wrap for you. No offense. We love Kyrie Sane on the show, but it's a wrap for you. Also this week, Money in the Bank on July 1st of 2023 will be taking place at the O2 in London, England. First show overseas, over there, across the pond in 2 decades. How are we feeling about that?
Well, I mean, Clash of the Castle was in Wales. I know it's not the same thing, but
yeah,
we do get overseas. I'm happy that London, expanding more. Yeah, it was cool as hell in Vegas when I got to see it. Yeah, that's fine. But, expanding more, and the fact that people are pissed that Money in the Bank is still a pay per view, PLE, whatever, they get mad about everything.
who cares?
But keeping it its own, putting it in London, one of the biggest arenas in London, to my knowledge, or in England, from the little bit that I know, it's gonna be good for them.
Mm-hmm.
You're more audiences. It's gonna be 2, 3 p.m. for me and you, which I'm okay with.
That's perfect. I need that.
I'm alright with that. I'm okay with these pay-per-views, PLEs overseas and shit like that. I'll take that dub for me. I don't have to sit here like I'm going to for Revolution for 16 hours because the pay-per-view will never end.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah, it's bad. Nah, it's been, I think the last one, SummerSlam '92 was when they were out there. But yeah, that's something because their fans out there are some of the best you can be around. So to me, they definitely deserve to have a good show. And Money in the Bank, I think they're really trying to build it up to a point where it can be one of those big arena shows like the Rumble, I won't say WrestleMania, but SummerSlam, stuff like that. They're really trying to build that up. So maybe this will be what they were looking for, like they wanted to do this past year. Like they wanted to put it in Allegiant Stadium, but couldn't have enough fans for that. Didn't sell out the way I did, but you go to London where they've been waiting for a big show all this time. It's like, well, maybe now we'll get that revenue and fill the place up, and then maybe then they'll start talking about it being one of the big 4, big 5, whatever it is at this point for those shows. Maybe.
Yeah, they've kind of been calling it the big 5 for the past few years, the typical 4 and including Money in the Bank in that. And that always kind of surprised me. I was like, I mean, I can see why out of all of the other pay-per-views they have throughout the year, that definitely would be the best one to consider in the big 5. I just like Money in the Bank. I do kind of miss when it was at WrestleMania. I understand why people do, because that's where it started, and it was this thing, and it was a nice, cool ladder match every year. But I kind of like having it be its own entity, because you get the 2 ladder matches, and you sprinkle in some other good matches here and there. Cash-ins, even though the women should not cash in the same night.
Yeah, 24 hours. That's all they get, which is crazy to me.
Unless you're Carmella.
Yeah, she was the only one, and that's honestly that's crazy to me because I've harped on this several times before. It's like the longer you let them hold the briefcase, even though they come out on TV with it, the longer you let them hold on to it, the easier it is for it to go to the back of our mind. Case in point was Edge.
Yep.
First one to me will always be the best. I know we got Seth Rollins' best cash in moment. Okay, fine. But the best overall Money in the Bank winner to me remains Edge because we let it go to the back of our mind. He would even talk about it, but it was always like, "Oh yeah, you talking a big game, but you're not actually striking." And then it got sold to the point to the back of our mind that he went in there to face Rick for the IC title that night. Remember that? We weren't thinking about anything about a world title. He goes, gets disqualified, and then all of a sudden, boom, he shows up in the main event and cashes that in, wins it, and the whole game has changed. So it's like you just we get to the point we kind of get too far away from that it's like, okay, we got two Money in the Bank briefcases. One of them's got to get cashed in sooner than later. It's like, why? I don't. The first time it happened on the actual pay per view itself, like, okay, he won it at 8:30 and cashed in at 9:30. Okay, that's cool. Even a couple times is cool, but consistently, or even the night after the show on Raw, like, we gotta get away from that. Gotta get away from doing that. It's getting old.
Yeah, I would prefer the women, specifically the women, because men 9 times out of 10 hold it longer, obviously, because the majority of the women have cashed in night of or night after or the Friday after. It just hold it longer because then you can build a character around that, and like Mela was like Mela in the Bank, and it
Yeah.
worked for her. She became this icon, which I love Carmella. I love everything she's done. So the fact that she got that opportunity, ran with it, created a name for herself, became champion, like it worked. So
Yep.
they can do it if they put their mind to it. Well, if creative put their minds to it. But
Yeah. Even though they dropped the ball on it, and I wasn't happy about that, but it is what it is. um. So, wrestling companies have continued to play hot potato with William Regal, but he is back home now, and I believe he was at SmackDown this week. Officially started this month back with the company, and I believe what did the title they gave him is it EVP or something like that?
maybe I don't. I feel like it's been too long since I've seen what his title is.
Yeah, but yeah, William Regal back in the spot. Which I figured was going to happen. You know, his son is down in NXT and everything like that.
Yep.
I'm sure he wanted to be there for all of that. But that's that's good news. That's good news. Um, last thing I got for rumors: Shelton Benjamin celebrating his 20th anniversary. We saw he got the standing ovation on main event. I think it was on where he had a match there. Said he got a lot left in the tank. He ain't done, and I want to see. I want to see the Hurt Business come back, but I want to see him have like something significant, whether it's another mid card title run or something like that.
Yeah.
But with that, favorite Shelton Benjamin moment or match?
I mean, we talked. I brought up Money in the Banks being at WrestleMania. In
Mm,
the beginnings, he like you think Rumble, you think Kofi Kingston moments,
yeah.
you think Money in the Bank matches at WrestleMania, you think Shelton Benjamin.
Oh yeah.
Like any like running up the ladder was iconic. Like nobody ever thought to do that, and he does it flawlessly too. That's the
Mm-hmm.
issue I have because like he has no reason to be that smooth with it.
Yeah.
Like how many times do you have to practice this, or did you do it on the fly and you're that damn good? Holy shit!
Yeah, it's insane.
Is I only can think like top of the head. I think Shelton in all of the Mania matches, like every single one he's been in, because he has one moment at least that makes you think about that match. I couldn't tell you who the fuck was in the match, but I remember his spots in those matches.
Yeah, first Money in the Bank was absolute fire. I mean, I mean, I was almost mad he didn't win it because he had that. Then he T-bones Edge off of a ladder. That was the
Mhm.
second one. And then I think the next the next year, 22, he did that. He ran up the ladder again and held steady before doing a front flip over the top. Like, yeah,
It's insane.
the man is a freak athlete.
Uh
Um,
huh.
I if I wasn't gonna pick the Money in the Bank stuff, I would have to say, and this is long forgotten, but his debut, or I don't think it was his debut on Raw. It might not have been his debut, but he showed up on Raw in '04, and Redacted was the world champion, and Shelton faced Triple H, but a little distraction from the outside, and Benjamin hit that splash, rolls him up, and he pins Triple H. And that was how Raw got closed out for the night. It was wild, crazy. It was a pop for it. Um, but I was hyped for that because I'm thinking like, damn, like we might actually do something with this dude. Because he was a tag team guy. He was with Charlie Haas, World's Greatest Tag Team over on SmackDown, and Team Angle.
Mm-hmm.
So to see him have that moment like where he might break out as a single star, it's like, yeah, yeah, we might do something with this. And then, he went on to have the win the IC title, have a solid run with it. Then that's what I'm saying too. We got to get back to that for Shelton. Like, give my guy a solid run and doing something. You know,
Yeah, I mean, put him. Seth might be legit injured. Put him in the U.S. title picture with Theory.
yeah, yeah, I'm all for that. And bring the Hurt Business back because that was good. That was a good time.
Please, I'm begging at this point. I need the Hurt Business back. They held that shit down during the pandemic. There was no reason to break them up. I understand you wanted to make Bobby, Big Bob, the star. Understandable. You can do that within the Hurt Business. You're allowed to. You didn't
Yeah,
have to break them up.
yeah, yeah. It was way too soon.
Mm-hmm.
It was just starting to like really get good. So I, I don't know, man. We definitely we fumbled that.
Like we could have got Hurt Business versus Bloodline as Survivor Series in War Games,
See, that would have been solid.
but no, they wanted to break up the Hurt Business, put the Brawling Brutes and the Banger Bros together.
Yeah, real quick. We know we didn't get to SmackDown yet. We didn't get to SmackDown yet, but um, I need somebody to explain that to me. Who in their right mind? What adult in their right mind in 2023 um, came up with the bright idea of saying, "Hey, you know, Sheamus is always staying dropping the quote banger after banger after banger. Now he's teaming up with Drew to face the Usos. Whose bright idea was it to say, hey, let's name these two guys the Banger Bros? I I'm genuinely confused because no one is that oblivious to what that sounds like. I don't think anybody is. So somebody in creative got some explaining to do. Y'all trying to get some copyright strikes. Y'all trying to get sued.
I mean, and I know we're not on SmackDown, but there was a specific line that Drew McIntyre said, or I don't know if he said it or he tweeted, I can't remember now, about getting back on the bus,
Yeah.
and the internet exploded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Like y'all are
Was,
y'all are trying to get sued. They're really trying to get
I
sued.
mean, I would pay to watch that lawsuit go down. That'd be so funny to watch.
Yeah, like come on now. I mean, like he couldn't have made it more obvious neither. Like, ugh, yeah, terrible. But I had a laugh out of it. So we don't have the soundboard. So I can't do this the way I want to do it. So I might just abbreviate it for now, and we'll revisit it next week with the proper bells and whistles that it's supposed to have. But
Mm-hmm.
I got a peasant of the week, and it, I don't know how I feel about what I'm about to say. So here's the deal. First and foremost, Tony Atlas, bring that ass here. Um, so apparently, well, this happened this morning. We woke up to this on a Sunday. Um, got up, checked my news and stuff like that, and opened up some pages. And to my horror, I saw that this uh, headline about Tony getting punched and stomped in the face by some woman. Um, and apparently, this is a thing that he does regularly. And that's what the story's about here. But if you go on Twitter, it's been I don't know if it was trending or what, but the video is up of Tony literally laying on the ground, and this woman is just punching him all in his face, and at like the last 5 seconds of it is like just her stomping him with shoes on his face. And that's bad enough, but apparently he went out and he paid her $100 to do this, to just punch and stomp his face over and over again. So apparently, what I found out from reading up on it a little bit, apparently he has been doing this. He's been paying women to stomp him in the face, and he's done it at independent shows. TMZ actually did a story on this fetish that he had, and that's where they revealed that he paid $100 to have someone smash his face. So yeah, like I said, I'm just, when we have the soundboard, we're gonna have to revisit this. But what was your thoughts on this? I'm gonna leave it alone.
Now, you call me. I believe that title belongs to somebody else now. Sir.
Nah.
I mean, I get it. We don't fetishize, don't kink shame, whatever. But that's a lot. That's a lot happening. No. With shoes on too? No. Oh my god, they were probably wearing heels. I can't.
Nah, they were sneakers.
Just like, well, we don't. The other women could have. We don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point. The question is, the real question is, and this is important: would you let Rhea do that to you?
Stomp me in the face?
I mean, did you watch the video?
Briefly, I saw it and then scrolled, so I didn't fully watch it.
Okay, well, watch the full thing, and then you get back to me on that.
Because I would let Rhea do mostly anything to me, so for gimmick's sake, sure.
It's okay. I know the real answer. It's all right. It's all right. I'm not gonna blow your spot. I'm not gonna blow your spot. Oh, well, we're gonna get to quick hits really quick here. Monday Night Raw got a hot start really quick with Bianca facing Alexa for the women's title, and Alexa, her past is catching up to her. We're seeing a lot of folks in masks show up. The Titantron glitched, and she just lost her mind, snapped on the ref, got disqualified, And then she went off on Bianca, and Bianca got her ass cooked. It's usually where we put the soundbite in there, but I don't got the soundboard. But yeah, she went off, handed Bianca to her, like, I mean, but busted her face up, threw some stairs at her. I mean, it was bad. It was really bad. And she got some fire coming her way. But what's where does this go though? Like, is Alexa reverting back to dark side, or like, or is this just something that she's got to fight off? I'm conflicted about all this.
I don't know. I know for like storyline purposes, this was probably going to lead to match 2 at Rumble, if I were to guess. Which, that's fine. Okay. But with Bliss alone, it's hard to tell. Like, she could be resorting back to Dark Bliss, but she is the one who necessarily, like, she did screw over the Fiend at Mania, so this could be her just being more with Uncle Howdy instead of Bray. I don't know, but I like it. A lot of people are hating on it for some reason. I'm okay with it. Like, seeing the image of, like, the upside down firefly kind of thing,
Yeah,
and the people in the masks, I'm okay with this shit. Like, it's a
yeah,
slow build, yeah, but it's working.
right.
At least for me.
Yeah, no, like I had the similar thought initially, but that was before they actually started, doing some stuff. Like, we saw Uncle Howdy appear, and like last week he attacks Bray and all this other stuff, and now it's crossing over to Alexa. Like, hey, they're keeping continuity, which I'm a
Yeah.
big that's big for me. Keeping continuity is very important to me. So the fact that it's still going on with her is fine. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, no. Yeah, the fact that we're keeping that story going because it did branch out to her, that works for me. Plus, people have said a lot of times, well, maybe she should go back to being just regular Alexa. Listen, we've long since passed that point. Like, that Alexa to me kind of ran its course, and she showed range when she delved into that character. So why not explore it as much as you can?
Yeah,
That
like,
that
it's
that's how I feel.
Goddess Bliss ran her course, like you said. I love everything Alexa does, but this Darker Bliss has been my favorite iteration of Alexa Bliss. So if she's going back to that and possibly amping it up higher, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Plus, you already got enough mean girl characters in wrestling. Like, that shit is so old at this point. We gotta let that go. Um. So I'm not sure though if, because I said I'm not picking against Bianca at any point in time. Um. And I know there's a lot of speculation about what the WrestleMania plans are. Um, I don't know what this is going to mean going forward, because I can see a scenario where Alexa could beat Bianca for the title, but then that means that we're going to get something different for her at WrestleMania for Bianca. There's something, a lot of talk about her potentially defending against Rhea at WrestleMania, and obviously, if Rhea goes in and wins the Rumble, that sets that up nicely. But if for whatever reason they decide to change course and they let Alexa win, I'm okay with Bianca winning the Rumble and going to the Blue Brand to cross off another match that I want to see within the next 2 years. Obviously, that being Charlotte. And since I got you here again, didn't get SmackDown yet, but I know you were happy to see Charlotte Flair last week.
Yeah, because Ronda Rousey fucking sucks. Like, People expected me to go on this full blown tangent, a reek rant, if you will, about Charlotte coming back. If it was any other scenario, yes. But Ronda has been terrible as champion, terrible on the mic, can barely hold her own in a match since she has become champion, or was champion. SmackDown's women's division, even though they have good names on there, they don't utilize them properly. They were missing something. And that happened to be Charlotte Flair. So Charlotte coming back, immediately winning a title, 9 times out of 10 would piss me the fuck off because Charlotte doesn't need a title. But again, this is the catalyst. I needed that belt off Ronda so bad. She's terrible. And she even said on her fucking YouTube show or whatever the hell that she's been there, done that with a title. Now she wants to go for the tag titles, which, like, fine, because Shayna.
There you go.
If Shayna can benefit from it, fine. But Ronda sucks. So I needed that belt off of her. And the queen came back. So and now she's a babyface, which won't last long.
Yeah, it's weird, but I'll allow
so
it.
Weird.
Yeah, no, I'll allow it because at the end of the day, I don't think she's a baby face. She might be a face, but she'll never be a baby face. It's just not. Oh. It's not in her. It's not in her genetic makeup. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, no, I am down with a tag team or tag team championship run because I only see one of two scenarios going forward. Either they team up and they make a run for the titles going into WrestleMania, or if they stay together or whatever as a, you know, not as a tag team but as a team, and then you just create enough friction for them to turn against each other, and then you have them feud at WrestleMania. That those are the only two scenarios I see, because again, it is about Shayna, and we really need to start building her back up. I don't see another ceiling or height for Ronda or peak for Ronda at this point. It happened 3 years ago, as far as I'm concerned. Exactly. That was the peak. We didn't recapture it. We're not back to that point. They don't even want to do Ronda Becky anymore. Like that's effectively, that's pretty much off the table. But Becky's going to be doing something else. Ronda's going to be doing something else because people don't want to see it anymore. Like I remember when Becky came out and announced she was going to face Ronda one-on-one at Mania. I got chills for that. I was like, oh, this is wonderful. I bought my ticket based off of that. But now, 3 years later, it's not hitting. It tells a lot when you don't sell the matches and stuff like that as a champion. Like it's not hitting. Like the whole thing with Liv was that spelled it out for everybody. It's not working. From the time Liv beat her to her winning it back, it just fell apart. But what can still happen is that she can use what she has left to get Shayna over back to where she needs to be, because she's been having a rough go of it from the time she got to the main roster. So it's like if they wind up breaking down into a feud where they face each other at WrestleMania, get that done and make a star, or remake a star, essentially. But if they win the tag titles, I'm okay with that too, because where are they on Damage Control right now? Listen, we've been saying already, Damage Control it's not been hitting the way it was supposed to. It started with Bayley, because the fact that she keeps losing so much and they're the only ones winning, it's like the whole point of you, and I said this last week, the whole point of you elevating a group is the fact that you're winning, they're with you, they're winning. You know, it keeps going from there. But if you're losing all the time and they're winning, what kind of, like, how are you the centerpiece when you're always fucking losing? But either way, it's not doing it. They need to start going their separate ways already. We know what Io Shirai can do, or Io Sky, We know what Dakota does, and Bailey's been a single star, so this doesn't need to keep going on much longer. And Shayna and Ronda, as a team, to me, has potential. No, we don't let Ronda talk as much, and we just let them just beat the shit out of everybody for week after week. There's something there. There's if you're gonna keep the tag division alive, there's something worth doing there. But those are my own two scenarios, and they could still feud after a good title run. It was as tag champs, so I would be cool with that too.
Yeah.
But anyway, because we can get way off topic. But last thing that I want to touch on for Raw, the Bloodline showed up to Raw to raise some hell and fight some people, and start some shit. And I got beef with Adam Pearce. I got serious beef with Adam Pearce. This dude really shows up, and he's been getting bitched by Roman and everyone from the Bloodline for at least the last year and a half, almost 2 years. And now all of a sudden he wanna start putting some bass in his voice when he talking to them, because he, oh yeah, we send security out, and y'all gotta get out of my ring and all sort of stuff. Like, where is this coming from now? Like, you're supposed to be the guy in charge, and like, I don't know. It's only been recent that you want to start getting real big and bad with everybody, even though you're supposed to be the one running the show on screen.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, new year, new Adam Pearce.
Man, I don't even know. But see, I'm interested to see where this goes, because I saw there were some chats about, ultimately they're trying to, at some point in time, they got to separate the world titles.
Yeah.
Roman's been doing the belt collector gimmick way better than Kenny. Just want that to be known. Yeah, they've been holding on to both belts for a while, and I think at WrestleMania is where that's going to end. But they've been talking about potentially trying to get to separate them out. And one of the ways they could potentially do that is, stripping him of the WWE title. And like, I kind of saw somebody saying how, like, that it could potentially be a situation where, if this gets out of hand enough, them showing up on shows, starting fights backstage and all this other stuff, then officials could step in and say, okay, Bloodline's gone too far. It's going to cost you your title. I don't think that'll happen, but that's interesting.
Probably not, but that is a good, interesting take on what could lead to the separation of titles, because they do need to be separated.
Yeah, for real. And I didn't put this in the news and rumors, but I heard there's interest in Tama Tonga.
Yeah. I've seen that there's interest in Tama Tonga, Hikuleo, and possibly the rest of God. So.
Oh man.
I've also seen that there's interest in Jay White too. So I think WWE just wants everybody from New Japan to come over at this point. So.
And this brings me back to my point. This cannot be a bad Rumble. There's no way it's going to be a bad Rumble. This might be one of the best Rumbles we've ever had, because there's no way to tell what we're going to get. There's no way.
The possibility is, specifically for the men, the possibilities are endless, because all the names we just mentioned are possible, and I think a lot of their contracts are up very, very soon with New Japan if they don't do anything with it. And Tama just won the title off of Carl, and so that's a whole thing right there. So like anyone from New Japan, I can't even think of like other, like, in Matt Cardona. You've been saying it for a while. You want to hear Matt Cardona show up?
Yeah, I need
and for the women, there's like not as much mystery, I guess. There's the possibility of Mercedes showing up. It is very slim, but it is still very possible. Naomi coming back, which I want. Um, the legends that are there. Victoria should be in the Rumble, leading to her Hall of Fame. I am all
Ooh,
on the train.
hashtag Victoria for Hall of Fame.
There you go. You're welcome.
Make sure I'm doing it every week. Appreciate you.
Because it's true. Like, if anyone deserves it, y'all ran down her accolades last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Yes, she needs it.
Yep.
I'll fight whoever I have to get her in there.
That's the truth. Needs to happen. I'm tired of waiting.
Yeah.
But yeah. So now we get to SmackDown, and we had more Bloodline showing up, tearing up the whole place, and that's when Roman came out, and Roman wasn't too happy. He was started off, smiling and everything like that, but he started talking about, ever since it's all about the new year, but he said, I want to talk about last year. And the way the last year ended, some of y'all think I lost. But I didn't get pinned. I didn't submit. He went and pointed. He's like, he lost, talking to Sammy. And that's when it kind of broke down. Like we saw Psycho Roman come out like, yo, you trying to be me? You trying to be the tribal chief? Like you trying to step on my toes? Like what's up with you? It was about to get hot and heavy. Kevin Owens shows up and says, yeah, you're not mad at Sammy. You're projecting some feelings right now, but really you got an issue with me. So I think the best way for us to settle this is we just throw the ones up and scrap it at Royal Rumble for the title, and we settle it. So we are gonna get Roman versus KO for the title at the Rumble. I think they did that 2 years ago at the Rumble too, for the Universal title.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the last man standing match.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that back. Yep. The cart.
That was the cart too. That's right.
Yeah, I gotta watch that back now. But yeah, Sammy and Roman, they really it was really about to get ugly for a minute.
We knew Jay had PTSD standing in that ring. Like we knew.
Yeah.
It was there. He heard Roman raise his voice. He like stepped back. He's like, no, not again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's only a matter of time though. That's to me, that's kind of like writing on the wall, because I mentioned TC. I have seen some plans, written plans that could change, but of the next couple months. So we know where this is going. And even heading up to WrestleMania. And I should point out, I'm not going to say what is slated for this card, but Elimination Chamber takes place in Montreal, Quebec. Mm-hmm. Do with that information what you will. So by the end of January, I think we kind of know where this is going to go. But it's still compelling TV nonetheless. For someone who was not even supposed to be in the bloodline this long, this was only supposed to be like a 1 night or 2 night thing. For this to have stretched out for several months tells you that Sammy is a fucking keeper.
Oh, 100%. He is the best part of the bloodline.
Yeah. Yeah. He been earning his keeper out here. Mm-hmm. That was MVP. Speaking of the Rumble, we've had 3 people who are going to be a part of it so far that we have announced. Santos Escobar, dark horse favorite for me right now. Ricochet qualifies after beating Hit Row. I'm going to get to that in a second. And Liv Morgan announces that not only is she planning to be in the Rumble, she wants to start. She wants to be number 1 and run through the whole field. So, Liv, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get that.
She might, but that could be a chance to like build her back up and have her go into like number 15, 16. Have her have a nice hefty run in the Rumble.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. It'll probably be smart, honestly. I think if anybody needs some rehab, not that kind of rehab, not Matt Riddle rehab, but if anybody needs some on-screen rehabilitation, it would be Liv Morgan.
Besides Shayna, yeah, Liv Morgan.
Oh yeah, yeah. But see that's why I outlined the plan for that. That they have everything they need to make that happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of Hit Row, what started off last week got officially confirmed this week, and that's that Hit Row has turned heel. Top Dollar loses the match to Ricochet. It was a solid match, and they made it all like, well, they're congratulating him on the win, and then they start stomping him and beat that man's ass in the ring. So Top Dollar is back to being a heel faction, which is they started off as a heel faction in NXT with
Yep.
Swerve before he left, and I think this is much needed. I didn't feel like Hit Row was a face faction or group. They just, because the crowd got so into it, it was just naturally they kind of had the face feel to it. But they were they to me they were supposed to be heels. So this is good. I like this. And the diss tracks are about to go crazy.
That's also true. I just don't like Braun being involved in all of this. I just don't like him being like Ricochet's. It could have anybody else have his back, but not Braun. Like I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, it's probably a punishment for him because he can't keep his Twitter fingers to himself, talking about flippy shit, and you know, talking stupid about it.
Like
It's
you don't gotta punish Ricochet.
well, I don't think they are. I think they really kind of like they kind of done a complete 180 on Ricochet in terms of his character and development, and how he's being booked on screen. Like
Yeah.
he's been really getting some shine, rightfully so. I mean, he's earned it.
Oh, 100%.
So it's about time. But yeah, to me, Braun coming back in general was never a big thing. I always felt like it was just I couldn't see him being anywhere else. But I mean, I'm never going to be thrilled to see the guy. I don't think so. And he's supposed to have a match next week with Gunther for the IC title. There's something I don't like about this, and it's the fact that Gunther been looking like a punk when Braun shows up. Gunther
Yeah.
don't run from no Walter Gunther. That person does not run from nobody, and he will shoot the fade with the biggest, baddest, smallest, tallest, whoever. So the fact that every time Braun shows up, he starts taking off, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Mm-mm. I. They better not do it. They better not throw
Nah,
crowd
nah,
into this.
that's not gonna happen. I can't see them doing that. There's no way.
They. I'm just saying they better not.
Yeah, the whole point of him winning the belt was to kind of elevate it, which I had been screaming for months,
Yeah.
probably years. But yeah, that was the goal, and giving him a lengthy run was the easiest way to do that. Same thing with the U.S. title, but more so for this one because it's been going through it.
Yeah.
But no, I think this has to be. We got to continue this. Like, he just got to knock a few big names off the list as he's going along. But I don't see them changing the title. There's another conversation around his potential WrestleMania plans. Um, they're very interesting, to say the least. You haven't heard about this. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Uh,
We'll talk after.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna keep that off. Um, and last thing, well, second to last thing, Lacey Evans, another vignette, and now she's doing the Cobra Clutch, and apparently Sergeant Slaughter wasn't a fan of it either. I'm not a fan of it, so I can see why Sarge wasn't feeling it.
Find me a fan of it because I don't see any.
Yeah, I don't, I don't see it. I
Like
don't. See,
this shit's done. This is outplayed. Lacey Evans is done. There's no point in doing this because nobody cares. As soon as they started her GI Jane and bullshit again, ain't nobody give a fuck about it.
yeah, I don't. I'm very like. I'm one of those people that you get repackaged, redirect this person in their presentation. I'm all for doing it to try and freshen it up time and time again. Uh, but it kind of feels like you're dressing up. You're dressing up the same thing in a similar fashion each time because to me, and I maintain this, the sassy Southern Belle gimmick, that was the best thing you could have did for her because it was
Yes.
original and she worked the shit out of it.
The theme
So
was fantastic.
that too. So I don't know why we felt like that needed to go. She needed to work on her in-ring stuff, like that needed work, but the gimmick was perfect. The gimmick was getting it over. So I don't know why we got away from that. Then you start tapping into her real life, persona, or not persona, but her real life past. She was a Marine,
Yeah.
and so we start digging into that to make her a face. That did not work. Real heels are not. You cannot push them as faces. They have to naturally become faces, but you can't push them as faces. So they tried to push as a face. It didn't work. Then she vanishes. She goes. She had another child. Had her time off, and she comes back, and it's like we were playing ping pong about if she was heel one week, face next week, heel, face, heel, face. She's gone. Take a couple of weeks off, and now we're doing this whole thing with the training and Marines again. Like we're trying the same thing, just in a different direction, and
Yeah.
it's just not it. Go back to what worked. I mean, I don't know how you can at this point. It's like you kind of gone a little bit too far.
Yeah, if they had to take her back to the sassy Southern Belle, which again worked so well for her, you would have to make sure she stays off of Twitter and no mention of her for like several months. But they
Yeah.
won't do that because they're so invested in her for some reason. And like she's not terrible in the ring. She does have one of the best move results, I will say, because that it's beautiful to look at. But
It is solid.
we don't need her in this. We don't.
Yeah, it's really it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all.
No.
Yeah, and to close out the show, we had the Usos retaining titles against the Banger Bros. uh, Solid match between them. Uh, Sammy was, instead of being out there, Sammy was backstage with Roman watching the show. And Roman apologizes because he said he lost his cool and he didn't deserve to be talked to like that. Um, man, I said this before. I'm gonna say it again. Roman Reigns might as well go get his master's in psychology because the way he works with this manipulation and gaslighting, I mean, it's exceptional. It's really exceptional.
Roman
Gotta give it
is
to him.
a gaslighting girl boss. I said it on SmackDown on Friday. Gaslighting girl boss, that's Roman.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going crazy with this.
Yeah.
And Sammy is so unaware of what's coming for him. I feel for him. I feel for him. All right, so before we wrap it up, me and TC kind of did this a little bit last week, but now that you here on the show, I want to just throw it out there since we might not get you back before the Rumble comes along. So, uh, what are your or who are your favorites, or who did you want to win this year's Rumbles?
I mean, I've been saying it for months. I want and need Rhea to win this Rumble. The
So,
with if things go according to plan and Bianca doesn't lose the title at the Rumble, then we get the Bianca Rhea match at Mania for the title, which their paths have been so similar since NXT and since getting on the main roster. It works. Rhea has been doing exceptionally well with making herself the heel on Raw, unbeknownst to everybody else, because they just more care about Prison Dom than Rhea. But Rhea is like the name that I want for the women. Other than that, maybe Naomi or Bayley to win
okay.
it. For men, it's a lot harder because so many people could be coming back. So many people could be debuting. I don't think it should be someone who debuts. That's a given. Cody Rhodes, he's slated to come back.
Yeah.
Dwayne might show up. I don't know.
That poster is very telling.
Yeah, exactly. Electricity everywhere. Interesting. I think I'll do the safe bet and go Cody, because that's what most betting odds and everything are, is that Cody's gonna come back and win. If it's not Cody, I'm honestly okay with it being like Sammy or Jay. I'd be okay with one of them to further that bloodline story.
Okay, I will say I've been on this train for the longest, and I ain't getting off of it. Jay should absolutely be the one to, when the time comes, bring this whole story full circle where it all started and beat Roman for that title. Now, the way things are going currently, the way the plans are looking, that's probably not going to happen. So, I said, I'm going with Cody, but I can't. As much as it would go over, I can't see Sammy doing it. But I would be all for Seth winning the Rumble.
That's if he's not legit hurt.
I don't think he is. I think he's working us.
I don't know.
I don't appreciate him doing that either, because the way it was looking, on the show, in the last match, I'm like, okay, he's selling it. It doesn't look bad. Then they start showing you footage, camera footage, from when the show went off the airs, everything like that. And then he made that tweet, the same tweet he made when he tore his ACL. So I'm not 100% sure. All I know is like what I can go off of from seeing the match, and it looked, for all things considered, that he was still okay. And so that leads me to think that maybe he's just working us. But if he's not working us, I'm going to be very upset.
Dude, me too. I can't miss another Mania in general.
Yeah.
But the possibility, Seth is also a very strong name to win the Rumble, because then that continues that story with Roman.
And it does. Listen,
that's why I hate the Rumble, because I can never fucking pick. There's too many things that can happen.
Roman has been ducking Seth for almost a full calendar year, because Seth still has a victory over Roman Reigns that we haven't addressed, and that's starting to get me upset. But yeah, on the women's side, I'm kind of with you there. I definitely feel like Rhea's a strong favorite. So I'd probably pick her. I would not rule out. Um, I would not rule out Bailey. I know TC picked her uh, when we talked about it last week. Just because I think she really needs something to turn her around. I think Damage Control is not going to be going good much longer. So she definitely needs something. But yeah, uh, if I had to pick with just somebody off the top of my head, I would go Rhea. Bailey in the back pocket. Um, and then I can think of other people that could really use it. Shayna, if they don't
Yep.
like go for the tag titles, because there's a lot of matches that we got to consider for Charlotte too. She's definitely going to go in as champion. So I mean, Charlotte, Shayna, I'd be all for, and or her versus Bailey, like those all work for me. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see, we'll see. Uh, but yeah, Young Kings Wrestling holding it down this week. Uh, TC will be back next week, all hopefully. But before we get out of here, plug your socials. Let us know where we can find you and your 50,000 shows.
Not 50,000. I don't know why y'all assume it's 50,000 shows. It's like four, one of which I'm not even probably doing this year. But you can find me on Twitter at KatieWrestling13. The link to your move on to all things She Leads Showcase, twitch.tv/She Leads Showcase, typically Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, youtube.com/She Leads Showcase. I say watch videos because they're way more entertaining. Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts if you want to listen. She Leads the weekly show, Inside the Mind of, which a new episode drops tomorrow, Friday or Sunday, with Krista B from Those Wrestling Girls.
Shout out.
Yes. I started last year with Queen PR, and ironically enough, started this year with Krista B. So I didn't mean for that to happen, but it did. And then I have my next one lined up, so that'll come out in 2 weeks. Savannah's got 2 shows. I think I gotta put one. I have to put New Japan Takeover up this week if it's in the Dropbox. Yeah, I do a lot of shows. Those are like the main ones I'm gonna mainly do because I do too much. So, and you can occasionally catch me on Smack and Raw. Not this weekend though, because I'm busy. But mostly you'll see me.
It's all good. You can take a breather. Y'all can find me at ReCavic24 on Instagram and on Twitter. Y'all can check out the Havoc Hour, where I talk sports and entertainment on all streaming platforms where you find Young Kings Wrestling, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and the most entertaining version on YouTube. All my friends here, including Miss Katie Kinsey, have been guests on the show. Uh, looking to revamp this year. Got to kind of reschedule and put a new plan in place to put some new content out this year, but we're gonna get that happening. But plenty of content up you can check out there, and as well as the Instagram page _ the Havoc Hour _ got anything else before we get out of here?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, all right. Well, I appreciate my client for coming through, holding it down with me while my co-host is out. Uh, this has been Young Kings Wrestling. We are out of here. Go.